Today on Abbreviated Bios, we look at an architect who took Roman, Gothic, and Renaissance styles and made buildings to be uniquely American. He designed more monumental buildings than any other 20th century architect, and they are beautiful. They don't look anything like the garbage being created today. His name was John Russell Pope. I'm Stephen Yoder. John Russell Pope was born on April 24th, 1874, in New York City to John and Mary Avery Pope. His father was a well known portrait painter and landscape painter, but died when John was only 6. After this, his maternal uncle, Dr. Alfred Loomis, took him under his wing. John was influenced to make medicine his career. Pope first attended City College of New York, intending to become a physician. CCNY assumed that drawing was an essential component of any well-educated person. John attained his highest grades in drawing. Pope then went to the Columbia College School of Mines and studied under William R. Ware. He earned a Bachelor of Philosophy in Architecture in 1894. After Columbia, he was awarded the McKim Fellowship in Architecture by that school, and then the Rome Prize. He went to Italy to attend the American School of Architecture in Rome in 1895. He toured Italy, Sicily, and Greece in 1896 to 97 and sketched Romanesque, Gothic, and Renaissance structures. From 1898 to 1900, he studied at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. During his time in Europe, he began his emphasis in classical architecture. In 1900, Pope moved back to the United States and began to work for architect Bruce Price in New York. He opened his own office in 1903. For many years, he designed homes almost exclusively. During this time, Pope set new standards of design paired with livability. Shown here are Dr. Henry Jacobs' home in the Italian Renaissance style and the McCormick House in 1908, which is now the Brazilian Embassy. The Meridian House was designed in the French manorial style. Shown here are the Charlecott House and the Glen Farm, which is Moses Taylor's house in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Skylands in Sterlington, New York, and the Waves, which was Pope's own home in Newport, Rhode Island, were both done in the Tudor style. Shown here is the Virginia Vanderbilt House, yes, those Vanderbilts, in New York City. The Woodbury House was done in the Federal style. Pope was especially known for his beautiful elliptical staircases. John Russell Pope is most known for his beautiful public buildings that he designed. Among them were the Union Station in Richmond, Virginia, which is now a science museum, and the National City Christian Church in Washington, D.C. Shown here is the Scottish Rite Temple in Washington, D.C., which was finished in 1915, and the Constitution Hall, which was finished in 1929 for the Daughters of the American Revolution. Pope took no commission on this job because his mother had been a member of that organization. Here is the American Pharmaceutical Institute, which was completed in 1933, and the National Archives building, which was built in 1935. Pictured here is the interior of the National Archives, which is called the Rotunda. This is where they keep the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution for viewing by the public. These photos are of the Henry Huntington Mausoleum in San Marino, California, and the American Battlefield Monument in Mount Faucon, France, which was dedicated in 1937 to the dead in World War I. Shown here is the Lincoln Birthplace Memorial in Hodgenville, Kentucky, and the National Gallery of Art, which was commissioned by Andrew Mellon and finished in 1939, a couple of years after Pope died. Pope's last design was of the Jefferson Memorial. As you can see here, the interior and the exterior, this monument was completed in 1941, a few years after Pope's death. Kirk Kimball once stated that Pope's designs were ripened, matured, digested, transmuting the classical elements into a work which was his own. His 34-year career was also described by others as a highly refined and restrained classicism that came to distinguish American architecture from that of its European counterparts. Pope served on the Commission of Fine Arts in Washington from 1917 to 1922. He was very proud of his service there. In 1933, he was elected president of the American Academy in Rome. Now, back in 1912, Pope had married Sadie G. Jones. They had 3 daughters together, but Mary and Sarah died in early adulthood. Only Jane lived long enough to marry and have children. Pictured are Sadie Jones, his wife, and Andra Akers, his granddaughter. John Russell Pope died of cancer in New York City. He was buried in Newport, Rhode Island. John Russell Pope was sometimes called the last of the Romans because he designed using neoclassical styles. After his generation died off, American architects began designing the ugly buildings we have today. Thank you for listening or watching Abbreviated Bios. Please subscribe or share if you like these kind of videos and these kind of biographies.